Oh, wonder, how many goodly creatures are there here? How beauteous mankind is. Oh, brave new world that has such people in it.
Things are changing, and sometimes you don't know it until your world is upside down. As our tools move faster, so do we. We're climbing an evolutionary ladder, but what will humans be when man makes man in his own image? And what are we becoming as we put more of our machines into ourselves and more of ourselves into them? What does it mean to be a family? What does it mean to be a parent? What does it mean to be in love? You may be surprised at what you find. A musical universe knit together by dancing strings. A world where aliens live right before our eyes. A world that just might lose most of its living creatures, but where man somehow slips through. We haven't got many answers, but we've got some terrific questions.
We are closer than ever to human cloning, so what should we be worried about?
Just get a piece of genetic material from the Führer.
Adolf Hitler.
Have 6 babies, 1 for each continent, and we could take over the world.
And what is it that frightens us about choosing our children's genes?
That is going to be what turns society upside down in the 21st century. That's much, much bigger than cloning alone.
And once children are designed, what do we gain and who do we lose?
If all of a sudden you're talking about you're making people the same, or at least having that potential to making people the same, I don't like the whole idea of it. It's a little bit scary to me.
We've got some terrific questions. Plenty of questions on the road to a brave new world. When Orville and Wilbur first went airborne on us at Kitty Hawk, do you think there was even one person alive who considered the problem of lost luggage, or lousy airline food, or what you would do if you really, really, really had to go and the refreshment cart is blocking the aisle? The thing is that every major invention, every scientific breakthrough, every new discovery provokes an initial wave of obvious and predictable responses, while a lot of the questions that will really preoccupy us down the road don't even occur to anyone. I mean, when the automobile first came on the scene, do you think there was anyone around who said, come on, guys, let's stop and think for a moment. A few years from now, we're going to be slaughtering more than 42,000 people a year here in America alone. Do you think we would have actually gone ahead if we'd known what the eventual cost would be? Maybe, but it would have been one whale of a debate. The fact is that if we spent our lives worrying about the impact of unforeseen consequences, we'd never get anything done. We'd be paralyzed. And if we permitted ourselves to be influenced by the first or second or even third round of concerns produced by each new development, we'd almost certainly end up worrying about the wrong things. Which is why we're turning once again to Robert Krulwich to get us past those first intuitive, visceral reactions that afflicted so many of us when we first heard about Dolly.
One look at this sheep, and the whole world got nervous. Very nervous.
Human cloning should be illegal.
We should never create human life for spare parts.
Eliminate is the creation of a human child by cloning, and we want to prohibit it.
In this country is opposed to human cloning.
Society is not ready to clone a human being.
Just the possibility that somebody, maybe soon, might clone a human being was so scary, most of us instantly hated the idea without bothering to ask, what is it exactly that is so frightening and so deeply disturbing about a human clone? We have these images in our heads from the movies. There's the problem. If we do ever clone humans, says Professor Lee Silver of Princeton University, they won't be like these movie clones.
The public perception is based on movies and fiction that people have read and looked at, and that's where they get this image of cloning as being an exact duplicate copy of a human being. And that is far away from what's really going to happen.
Lee Silver is a biology professor, an expert on genetics and reproduction. He likes a good movie. And human clones, he thinks, unlike movie clones, will probably be, he says, very ordinary, fully intact, very normal individuals. Of course, they will look a lot like somebody else, because clones, after all, are clones. But having a clone, said Lee, should be no more frightening than having an identical twin. Still, I wondered. Lee, however, promised me, once you get these movie images out of your head and you learn a little bit of science, you will think about cloning very differently. Which brings us back to Dolly. Dolly, as you may recall, was created by a Scottish research scientist. That's him, Dr. Ian Wilmot. Here he's pretending to feed Dolly for the TV camera. She is, as you'll see here, not the slightest bit interested. Still, what he did was something that nobody thought was possible. He took a single cell from an adult sheep and said, I'm going to turn this adult cell into a brand new baby sheep. But wait, people said you can't do this. An adult cell can't remember how to create a whole new creature. And what's more, you can't make it remember because an adult cell, as the scientists say, is differentiated. Now, here to explain what differentiated means in their fashion are my friends Josh and Adam.
Hey, every sheep starts out as a single embryonic cell. This single cell is filled with lots of long, stringy stuff called DNA. DNA. Who is that guy? DNA is the genetic code. Right. It's the instruction book that tells the cell everything it needs to know to build an entire sheep. Wow. So this very first cell is ready to do it all. Let's get busy.
So now I take it then that all life, all creatures start with one cell.
Yes.
And this cell can build a whole creature. It's the I can do anything cell.
This cell has the ability to turn into every single tissue and organ in your body.
But then it starts to split. And then what happens?
Well, the cell becomes many, many cells by dividing many, many times. And each of those cells takes a certain pathway. So one says, I'm going to become heart. Another one says, I'm going to become liver.
Let's watch this happen.